Alright, sorry guys, I'm under the weather, but my package just came. Let me show you guys. So here's the unboxing of H&S Mini Max. So here's the straight pipe, 4-inch. Should come with all these. Okay, yeah. It's a connector. And the bolts are in there. And here's the unboxing of the electronic parts. Okay, here's the performance programmer. Looks like it's good for all these brands. Let's open it. This is all cables. Put that over there for now. Sorry guys, I'm using one hand. Okay. And this is probably EGR coolant stuff. Yeah, that's all. Okay, so we have the EGR kit here, but for this purposes of this video, we're not going to be using this. We're just going to unplug the system and keep it there because it's not necessary. And I hear horror stories of people taking the EGR out and then they snapping a bolt because everything is rusted out, and then having to drill out the bolt, which could take 2 days, and just horror stories about stuff like that. I always hear about stuff like that. And I'm still under the weather. Sorry about that, guys. So my voice is still a little iffy, but here's the electronic parts, and here's the 4-inch exhaust. And right now, step one is where I warmed up the engine, not a lot, but just a little bit, so the exhaust is not too hot. So step one is we're gonna be taking the exhaust out. I made a nice little mess, a little bit of diesel I had in there earlier today, but that's okay. So we'll be taking the exhaust out. I believe it's from here, and we'll adjust as we go. It's from here all the way to there. This is the whole DPF, DEF whole system. So first things first is we're gonna be taking out any and all fittings and pipes and tubes and everything that attached to the exhaust. Taking those out. Looks like we got something over here. We got one here. Got one right there also, and then in the front, whatever we got over there too. And then we'll be unbolting the exhaust itself, so that's first. So catch you guys in the second video, or second part. Okay, so I've been under here for a while now. I just wanted to give some tips on removing the exhaust. Instead of trying to remove at the exhaust all the connections, which I started doing, but it takes forever. Everything is rusted in. I have to heat it, torch it, WD-40, nothing's working. What I end up finding is that all the ends, like that one for example, they have like these little connectors So just follow the thing and just disconnect that there, and you're gonna save yourself a lot of time, a lot of trouble. Yeah, it's not easy stuff, you know, but like I did this one, I unscrewed it, but this took forever. I should have just disconnected at the top, you know. And this one over here is a little bit hidden, but yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Okay, after about 2 hours of unplugging, untightening, taking off 100 of those rubber holders, gosh, I finally got it off. This was ridiculously hard. Well, I mean, it wasn't hard, but it just took so long. But yeah, I snapped, even though superheating it, I snapped both of these bolts. They just, look at them, it's rusted completely through. They just snapped right off. So, all right, you guys, sorry for the darkness, but I just can't wait until tomorrow. The next step, I'm going to be doing the exhaust later. I'm just gonna finish that later. But the next step I wanted to show you guys is that disconnecting from the EGR. Basically, there's 3 plugs here. So the first one was this red one that's connected to here. Popped off. And there was 2 more that were right here. This gray one that's connected to right there. And this black one that's connected to right there. Now all these lead into one wire. So that's how you would know. And the last piece to disconnect, this one's a little more tricky, but behind, so underneath this, right there, is that orange one. Let's see if you can see. That orange one is connected to that thing where the shadow's going over. Yep. Disconnect that orange one. And your EGR is disconnected. And that's what we're going to be doing with the EGR. I'm not going to be taking it out or anything, just disconnecting it. It's too much of a headache. If you're running boost, I believe over 40 PSI, then you have to disconnect the whole EGR system. But if you're not going to be running boost, then boost that high, then you should be good. Because basically the way it works is that there's valves, and if you have that much PSI, it'll push the valves open and will allow, I don't remember, either coolant or exhaust to enter the engine, which will cause an issue. So yeah, that's basically it. You don't have to worry about it unless you're, you know, putting a bigger turbo on it and all that stuff. So yeah. So now my next step is going to be actually tuning it. So next steps were I connected the HDMI cable to the OBD2. Sorry about this annoying sound, guys, and then I select 13 through 16 for Powerstroke, because I have 2014. Selected 13, 16, 4 to 6, 7 Powerstroke. Oh shit. So one thing I noticed after going through the system, basically through the instructions, at the end, it's asking if your car is cabin chassis. I pressed yes because I didn't know, but it said it didn't work and to disconnect. So okay, so I tried that again and I pressed no. So now it is downloading. Now I got these warning signs: reduced engine power, exhaust fluid. Well, I had low exhaust fluid to begin with. And yeah, so now I'm just trying to figure out the rest of this. Sorry guys, something happened with my phone. I was having issues and it didn't save a lot of the videos I made. But essentially I took out the exhaust. Not sure what I ended up taking down, but like ended up recording. But so I'm just gonna kind of go over it. So basically, instead of unscrewing all these things, what I ended up doing was I ended up just unplugging everything, because everything had a plug or some kind of connection, and it was very hard to get to because there was like no space to get to, especially like these ones right here. And yeah, so I ended up just disconnecting every single one of them. And then I started, with this. These all snapped because they're all rusted out. So I'll just have to remove those somehow later when I want to. And this side, it was two long bolts that I ended up removing, not nuts. And so essentially, I was able to drop it, remove these things that are holding it, the exhaust up, and it was very, very annoying to get in there. I had to get in there with the pry bar. But now I have the exhaust out, and this thing sounds mean. Let me go ahead and tell you guys for the EGR setup the way I did it. So you could either use what they gave you to disconnect the EGR and take it out, but sorry for the mess, which is this stuff right here, but I ended up not using it at all. All I did was I just disconnected it and it deleted all the stuff. It's my little dog. And so essentially the way you disconnect it is, it's kind of hot because I was just driving through the city with it, testing it out. So there's 3 connectors over here. Hey guys, I'm making a YouTube video. There's 3 connectors over here. The first one was this one, and I'm gonna have to I'm gonna strap them down somewhere just so they don't not loose. It was this orange one. You pop this out. Then back here there was 2. So you have this one, the gray one, pop this one out, and that one, the black one, popped out. So that's 3. And there's one more. Essentially, so looking over, here's the fan. So this black thing right behind it, it's hard to tell, but you see that orange little, it's not focusing on it, but you see that orange little line and that orange connector. Let me see if I can get it to focus. Right there, that orange connector. I disconnected that one. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what that is, but I just know you're supposed to disconnect it. That's all I needed to do. So my next steps will be installing the straight pipe back in. Now, the way I did it with the tune setup, so I had it connected to the OBD2. You switch that button on and you connect it to this thing. Now, the way I did it was I just followed the steps, and then press all the buttons. It tells me which to turn on, off. Obviously, never turn on the engine completely. You just put it in the on position. And then I went through the setup, and I set it up. It was pretty fast, pretty quick. My check engine light turned off, which was from the I had a reductant heater problem for the DEF system. It was really annoying and it reduced power for me. So that's all gone. And now it's it's running pretty strong. I already took it out for a couple test runs. I'll make some videos on it later. Engine's not running, but essentially I now have this connected. Now I'm not sure how I'm going to connect all this stuff. Like it came with like all these wires and stuff. I'm gonna do that part later, where I can have it just mounted to the side. And you know, I don't want it to be running off the OBD2 sensor all the time. I know there's a way to kind of set it up so it's powered on a different way, and I can have the OBD2 reader open. But for now, I guess this will do. But eventually I want to, you know, swap it out. And the kind of annoying thing is that it won't allow me to mess with, you know, the tune. The tune is right here, is in engine warm-up mode, until the engine is actually warmed up. Like engine oil temp probably like 170. So you have to be, you know, driving it around quite a bit to actually warm up the engine. It took me like 15-20 minutes to warm up the engine. Well, we're in really, really cold temperatures right now, so that took me a while. But essentially now you got, you know, speed. You can adjust these. You got, let's see if I can, it's kind of funky. It's not, it's probably Chinese made. But you got gauge setup, diagnostics, and then you can driving setup, special functions. You can adjust everything you want over here. And oh, you saw it there for a second. Basically what it'll have is it'll have no power, tow, performance, and extreme. And then you can like go up or down and adjust, and it tunes your, like it flashes the ECM or whatever it's called really fast. So like as soon as you adjust it to whatever you want, instant power. And this stuff, I mean, it sounds amazing too. I'll let you hear it out. I don't know if you guys can hear anything. Beautiful sound. But I'm putting the exhaust back on, so it'll be like that for a bit. Oh yeah. Yeah, so it takes a while for that to pop up to, you know, where it's not warming up anymore. And yeah, you just follow the steps on the piece of paper. It was pretty easy, you know, you just continue, yes, no, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, as far as that's pretty much it with the system. There's not much more to it. I'm not I'm not planning on taking the EGR out. It's just not something I want to do, and people have huge issues with those, with the bolts snapping, and then a one-day job turning into like a 3-day job, trying to take out the EGR and you know, trying to drill out the bolt that snapped inside the engine, and it's just huge headaches. So I figured this is about as, I don't need any more power from this engine. That's all I wanted to do, was delete it, and it's good enough for me. So if you want to do the EGR delete, you'll have to go to another video, unfortunately. But if you want to just disconnect it, that's all you need to do. This is what I showed you guys. Yeah, that's all. There's nothing else to it. All right, you guys, here's the finished product. Good. The car is officially straight piped. Okay, now since everything is connected, everything is working. Now, H&S, they never really gave me a way of, I couldn't really figure out how I could connect it to where it's not running 24/7 even when the keys are out. And, you know, I'm gonna get this all up in here and I'll show you guys how to do that later, how I'm going to do that later. But what I'm trying to figure out is, I want to be able to connect it to where it's only running and my key's in the ignition, in the running position. So what I'm figuring out, what I'm realizing is that I did some research, and I found that the white wire with blue stripe has power when the key is turned in one position. It has power when the engine is running, but it shuts off temporarily when you're starting. So if I connect to that, it's basically going to start running. You basically start your engine, it's going to turn off, and once the engine's running again, it's going to turn back on again. Now you can do that, but I was kind of hoping where I could find one that's only working in the running position, engine running position, because that's all I really need, to be honest. And I believe that you can, when you connect it, it says right here in the key position, which I believe the power is going to be running through here, or the battery, which is what it's on right now. So when I turn this on, it turns right off. When I put it back the other way, it turns on. So I believe that is one way that's how I'm going to get power through there. So I'm still learning, I'm still figuring out. Now let's see if I can get my camera. I hope you guys can see, but what I did is I put it in the running position. Now I'm testing I made a slice through the blue and white wire, the white wire and blue stripe. And if I put this on it, it turns on. My tester turns on. So there's power running through there. Now I'm going to do some more research, see if I can find the one that's only working in the running position. Okay, so look what we got here. It's this bundle of wire that's right here. And you find yourself the blue one, the white wire with blue stripe. Strip it. You take the thing you came with, this side. I'm gonna cut this down because it's just way too long. If I ever need to extend it, I'll just get more later and just extend it. And you just attach it there. I'm probably just gonna tape it really, really well. I don't want to bring solder all the way out here. And that should power this box. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab all the wire, put it over there, bundle it up, tape it or something, and I'm gonna run this part through here under this panel. Yep. Okay, here we have the finished product. Shine this light. Okay, so it's right there. End up running the wire through there. In between, there's a little gap over there. And here's the OBD2. And I ran everything. Basically, the wire, here's the wire. And I just hit it behind there and I just taped it to something. Taped it to another wire. And I just put this other strip back on. And let's test it out. Got the key. So there's power now. As soon as I start it, basically it restarts. But whatever. I don't have to do. Other people have done it this way. There's also a way to connect it to your upfitter switches, which are these. And I have this one running my LED bar, but I forgot what the watts were. These first two are higher watts, these second two are lower watts. But I connected to, the way you connect to that is from somewhere through here. If you see that yellow light, the yellow wire, that's the first upfitter. It's the first upfitter wire that's coming from the switch, and I had this connected to my LED. So this brown wire goes through the firewall, etc. But anyway, there's more wires coming from the upfitter switches, and you just have to find one of them. If you go on YouTube, you'll see them. But yeah, essentially that's it. That's how you connect this tuner. Now what's interesting is they have engine warm up, so I won't let you tune your won't let you change it until your engine temperature hits about 170 degrees Fahrenheit, which is whatever. I understand it's better to keep it warm than people blowing your things on extreme. There you go. That's how you tune the car. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll help. Go in the comments. I'll answer the best I could.